Okay, now you're on.
Now ready to go?
And I think we have audio this time.
Hopefully.
So there we go.
Okay. All right, I've got a warning tonight as we start.
Oh.
Things are changing in my family and it's putting me in a pensive mood. So I'm trying to collect my thoughts and just kind of, what I want to share tonight is something I feel really deeply about as well. And I don't know that I trust me to be coherent much tonight, so I do have some notes. Let me try to follow. But I've got second daughter is getting married in June. And my son's leaving on a mission in 6 weeks or so. So my window to have the influence that I have had is closing. And it's just got me wondering, do we do enough, right? Are they ready? 20 years ago when we had sort of had this vision of this day, the day's come, and the time to prepare is over. And now it's kind of up to them to see what they're going to do. So that's kind of got me in this mood, along with 5 years ago when I started teaching at Ascend. The youngest students I was teaching then have been with me for 5 years, and now they're graduating as seniors. So I'm getting a double whammy, like we do enough for these seniors. So I'm just really, kind of in that space right now where I've had this vision for 20 years with my kids, and now the time is done to really be part of that. And I'm just curious what's going to happen from here. So, raising youth of mission, youth that heal, build, and lead. It's common in an educational setting to sort of have this question, how's my kid doing in school? And it's a really fair question. But I think if we're honest, there's probably a deeper question that we really want to answer. And what is my child becoming? And then maybe even a level deeper is, am I becoming the parent that will help them facilitate that journey? So that's kind of where I'm thinking right now about us as parents. So what's our path to help facilitate this path for the children that are in our homes? Because it really is rarely about grades or transcripts or future careers. That's part of the equation. But the question that we wrestle with is a lot deeper if we sit and think about it. Right? What are they going to heal in the future? What are they going to build? What changes are they going to be able to facilitate? What kind of homes are they going to create? What kind of culture is going to be in those homes? Is what we've done. You guys are maybe not as far along as I am, but
We're getting there.
You're right way here. So that's just kind of the mood I'm in. And I want to start with that question for you. If you could just think about the qualities or the strengths that you most hope your children would have when they leave your home, and you were to create that list, it could be a pretty long list, but just kind of be selective. Right? What are the top few qualities or strengths? And let's take 60 seconds or 2 minutes or something. And just think about what would those be. If you really could narrow it down to those 2 or 3, what would they be? What would be on your list? Do you guys want some paper? Or are you thinking internally?
I was just thinking, you want us to speak out loud, you ready?
Oh, he's having us brainstorm.
Yeah, brainstorm. Think about it a little bit.
Oh, okay.
See if that works. if it's not too personal and you're willing to share it, I'd love to hear what are some things on your list.
I just had 3.
Okay.
Is there supposed to do more?
No.
Okay. Number 1, Christ-like. I
Okay.
hope they can find their way, back to God, and then he can, shakes them a little.
Yeah.
Resourceful. I just hope that they can figure it out, whatever they are. So they don't get discouraged and they just kind of get scrappy or whatever.
Mm.
And then hardworking.
Okay.
So they're not afraid to achieve something or make it right. Either way, just work hard to get there.
Interesting. Knowing your daughter, that's an interesting list. Right? As I watched her in class and in the school,
Yeah.
and troubleshooting some of the issues she's had with other classes or teachers,
Oh, sure.
it wasn't you coming in to solve it for her,
True.
right? It was, here's some ideas, good luck.
Yeah,
Right?
basically.
Walk it through with her, but
Mhm.
it was up to her to kind of address it with the mentors.
Yeah.
Well, hi.
We've been hiding in the hall.
Party time.
The spit's on.
Is that what this is?
The wet, see, you could get wet.
Thanks for sharing those. Debbie, how about you?
Well, I put, be still, I think we live in such a busy world, but I just want them to learn how to be able to just be still. And honest and kind and thoughtful.
Okay. Be still. Kind. That's a good list. Tara, Debbie, you want to share?
Submissive to God is what I would say. The other is kind of something I felt for a long time, that I just want him to be ready for whatever God calls him to do. I want him to be educated enough that he can be ready for anything God calls him to do. So ready,
Okay.
maybe.
I like it. I don't know if, well, I should probably bring you guys up to speed. I'm in one of those moods where I'm just reflecting, so this is that type of class. And one of the questions that I'm starting with is, as you picture your kids leaving your home, which is where I'm at in my life, what is it that you hope they have become? What are some qualities or strengths that maybe your top 2 or 3 that you really hope that they get from being raised in your home? So, any, you want to share?
Yeah. I hope that they will, well, first, I hope they have solid faith in Christ and they know where to turn regardless of what happens, that they'll know and have that, and that will be their core. Really, I don't know if anything else matters, but it might a little bit. So the other things that might matter a little bit after that. I hope they'll be able to choose mission over ease. Because there's a lot of ease right now and it's really enticing. Because it sounds so comfortable.
Yeah.
And so I hope they'll be willing to choose mission over that. I hope they'll have a growth mindset. That they know that they are never fully cooked. Always growing and becoming and changing and learning and growing, and that they're never done. Ever, ever. Those are a couple.
I like them. Jeremy?
Being in similar to where you're at, you kind of look at the kids that are gone and those that are just about gone, and you're thinking, are they enough? And I kind of see a lot in all of them. And so a bunch of my list just comes from watching them. I want them to be confident in life. I want them to be driven of their own motivation, like they're internally driven. Nobody has to tell them to go do something, or they've got their own desires and motivations. And then it's this proactiveness, and they see a need, fill a need. And it's, Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
Siri agrees. but-
Siri is listening and agrees.
Ultimately, I look at the kids and I think, they're better than I was. They're taking where I was or where I am, and they're going to improve on it. And is that where they're at, or that's what I want for them? I want them to take where I feel like I'm at and just go to the next level. And that's my hope for them. So.
Interesting. Okay. You guys thought of anything you want to add?
Yeah, well, I would say like these same things, but in an attempt not to say the exact same thing, I would add, I would want them to be nice, like to people and to their family. I would want them to be honest. And something else I thought of. Oh, I would want them to know how to feel peace, because our lives are so fast and there's so much, you know, to hear and to see and to, it's like life has gone fast forward now from where it used to be. And so I want them to have the skills to find rest and peace, you know.
Okay.
I think, I'll take a little bit of what everyone said, would be great. But I think being able to do hard things, I hear a lot of families say that nowadays, but being able to do hard things, like, if you have a goal, you can get there, it doesn't matter what's in your way, because you've been born and raised that you can do hard things and you can overcome anything as long as you have that direction and that goal. But, also, now it just escaped me, a relationship with their Heavenly Father that they know and understand communication and revelation from the Heavenly Father. That wasn't really talked about in my home very much. Very spiritual family, always go to church, very active, but like having a personal relationship wasn't something that was ever focused on. So I hope that they lead the home having a relationship with Heavenly Father and knowing when He's speaking to them. Will be great for me.
Yeah. Anything to add?
I know everybody's were so good. I think they're all. I just want to know yours in this relationship.
You'll hear plenty from me, so
Yes.
this will come out. It will come out tonight.
No, along with kindness, I would just want him to love other people. I just feel like that is going to be one of the biggest things that's missing is face-to-face contact and really letting other people know that you love them. You know, that's not a phone or a screen. Or I want them to be able to know how to find healthy and good relationships, whether it be with a spouse or coworkers or in the church or out of the church or with Christ, or just know how to have good relationships. It's so important in the whole life.
So in the home that I grew up in, there was sort of this sense but unspoken idea of mission, right? But it was really subdued. It was kind of in the background. Like, I think my religious upbringing sort of carried most of that weight. And when we tell a story about when sort of that came in conflict with career and mission, right? It's just to kind of make that distinction. But when we started our family and sort of thought about our paths, I was on the path that was set out for me, laid out for me, right? Get good grades, go to school, get a scholarship, and get a career one day you can retire. And that's an important part of the path I've been on, but I happen to have an aptitude for memorization that gave the appearance that I was an educated person, but I never felt that way. I always felt like there was something missing, but I did not have the words to articulate what that was. And it wasn't until I was starting to raise my own family and new language was given to us from people that became mentors in my life to say, I really want an overt family mission culture. Like we live because we have a mission, and everything we do is geared towards that. And the big mission is we all gotta get back safely. And the smaller missions are, we each have something special we need to accomplish while we're here. And so we really set out to create that culture in our family. And it took some rewriting of my own story to kind of figure that out, because I remember one of the experiences I had sort of in this space where I didn't feel educated, but I was doing really well in school, and there's sort of a disconnect. And I've shared this before, that my dad sat me down, wanted to have the talk, what are you gonna be when you grow up? And I was a senior in high school. And I remember looking at him and saying, I knew the perfect answer. I wanna be a teacher just like you, Dad. And he kept a smile on his face, but his eyes became concerned. Because he knew what it was like to raise a family on a teacher's salary. And he was hoping for something better for his kids. And so by the end of that conversation, I was gonna be an engineer instead of a teacher. And, you know, I wanna go back to that conversation, because that was a really important decision in my life. And I'm glad it was the decision that was made. Because had I been on the teacher path, I would be a much different teacher today than I am. So I'm really grateful that conversation was had. There's no negative energy behind that, but it did, later on I did realize, right, there was an inkling of mission in my response to him, and it was sort of covered up with career at the time. And I don't know, that's just something that was sort of important, right? That was coming from a culture that was not specifically mission oriented, but it was sort of related. So I went to school in engineering, and when I got done with my first 4 years, I sort of looked out in the world and I thought, oh great, I can design faster computers, or I can design better video games. And neither one really called to my heart. Like, what am I supposed to do with this 4-year degree in engineering? And so I started looking around at other options, and I discovered a field that I didn't know existed called bioengineering, which all of a sudden lit something up inside of me. I thought, I could take sort of this cold electrical engineering degree, and I can create devices and products that will help heal people. That feels like it can make a difference in somebody's life if I do that. And so that was the path that I went down. And shortly after that, an opportunity was presented from a former colleague. He just called us up, my boss and I, said, hey, I know what we did at that company you started at, and we want to do something very similar at the company I'm at, but we have too much bureaucracy, too much red tape, there's too many meetings. We need someone that can just go develop this medical device for us on their own, sort of skunk works, and bring it to us. Are you interested? So this opportunity to start my own business just dropped right in my lap. And I felt really inspired by that, because I was naive enough at the time to think I could do it. Right? It was a good thing I was young and dumb and I had that opportunity then, because today I don't know if I would do it. Right? But it also sort of smacked me in the face about how much of a whole different path I had no idea about. Because I had been trained as an employee engineer, and it's a very different mindset from an entrepreneur business owner. And so I had to kind of jump in and learn a whole new way of thinking in order to try to make that happen. And at the same time, this idea about leadership education was introduced to our family. Education can be used for much more than a career. It can be used to prepare for a life mission. And that idea just, I don't know, it did something inside me to think about, there's the meaning that I had always wanted, but didn't have the words for. That's why you go to all this effort to get an education, to read and study. It's not necessary to improve. It is, your career is part of that, but it's just bigger. When there's something more meaningful behind it, all of a sudden education became a totally different animal. My wife and I both kind of came to that realization. So we wanted to create this family mission culture, and we saw this as an opportunity for both of us to kind of go back and get the education that we didn't get in our formal school, and bring our children along for the ride. It was awesome, right? So we realized that's when I saw today. There was going to be a time when the kids were going to be leaving, and we had to run as fast as we could to be ready for them when that time happened. And we sort of decided to divide and conquer. So she focused on their childhood, their early youth, and I went to try to get an education that would help me be the mentor when they were young adults, teenagers, young adults. Right? 'Cause it's different. It's a deeper level of wanting to get them to a deeper place. So that was really the mission arc for our family. It starts with a vision. What is it what we want to envision 20 years from now? What do we want life to be like? And we realized that there would be a significant amount of preparation in order to make that happen. So that was getting into the classics, going to classes, writing, reading, really dedicated an important amount of time to try to be ready for when my kids needed me, and the clock was ticking. So I was moving as fast as I could. This was really when I realized what the key was going to be. Monkey see, monkey do. Right? If I really want them to have this vision of they have a mission, I need to figure out if I have a mission, and then help them see me pursuing that and trying to make it happen as a parent in the home. That's the culture I want. So parental modeling became a really important thing. Let them see me doing what I'm doing, reading, writing, sharing what I'm learning. See me going to classes, see me sacrificing, see me doing what it takes to be ready to go on a mission, a life mission, right? So here's another question for you to think about. In your vision for what you hope they become, what clues do you see now that are indicators that they're on that path? You see clues in them, and you can maybe see a seed or a leaning or some habit or characteristic that you see they're on their way.
I think both of my kids are fearless, for better or worse. I mean, there are things they are afraid of, but I think they have this, I don't know, they're just fearless in a good and healthy way, you know? They just, and I don't know if that's something being a Send has helped them to have within them, but I love that they, both of my kids that are here feel like they can truly do anything. Versus my older son who's afraid of everything. So, and I'm not spiders, but like literally afraid of what he's supposed to be doing. Whereas my other two are just, they're not afraid, they're fearless. You know? And Heavenly Father has also given us glimpses over time as to who they really are, and then people here help to point that out. I don't know that it's anything that I've really pinpointed myself other than other people telling me or Heavenly Father showing me, and that has been super helpful, because I'm pretty hard on my own kids. I can love other kids pretty easily, but I'm pretty
I feel a little that way.
so yeah, fearless, that would be one that I would say.
Any other indicators that you see?
Well, like today, me and Andrew got home, Brian got home, Polly got home, kind of all at the same time, and James and Adam had been home previous to us all by themselves. When we got home, they weren't there, so I checked their location, and they're both together at the Syracuse Temple.
Oh.
And I was like,
Whatever.
I was like, no, like whatever.
Didn't even get permission.
They didn't.
Oh, man.
Bad kid.
There's some
Like, you know what I
delinquents
mean?
over there.
Like, how did that happen? Like, that didn't happen when we were kids to anybody. Like, nobody did that.
I
You know
can't
what I
think of
mean?
a time I went to it.
Yeah.
I really can't.
You know what I mean? Or like
That's awesome.
watching James, he's the oldest, so I think about him the most because he's the furthest progressed, ready, getting closer to leaving. And he's got ideas of his mission and what he wants to do and be and become outside of a career, you know? And he like does hard things. Like he doesn't take the easy way out. He doesn't ask us for money for gas. He figures out a way to make it himself. He also doesn't spend the $19.99 coupon to go get his oil changed unless instead he spends $50 learning how to do it himself and creating disasters, and one that you witnessed recently.
That's pure genius.
And you know, like he takes the hard way out a lot of the time on purpose. And it's
He's curious.
astounding to me.
He's
Yeah, like even when the hard way out kind of doesn't make sense, sometimes we're like, just spend the $19.99, you know what I mean? Just, or whatever, you know what I mean? And I can think of so many examples of that, you know? And with him, and I mean other kids too. I'm thinking about him mostly right now, but I'm just kind of amazed. He's got discipline in a lot of ways. He's got discipline with spending money. He like, yeah, self-discipline with a lot of things. Things he's decided to be disciplined about, anyway. You know.
Other thoughts? Okay.
Can I do something else that's
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'll let them all do that. But really, like, you could sit, you especially could probably
It's easy to do.
give a string for each one of the kids. The parents can show.
Yeah.
That would be nice, cause sometimes I feel like I wanna sell my kids to the gypsies, and I'm like, no, they're fine, but what was I thinking about? And then I'm like, oh.
Are the
Aubrey is
gypsies
always-
paying?
Aubrey's
'Cause that's
always
good to
thinking
know.
of others, and Aubrey never cares about how old they are. They could be
That is the
10,
truth.
11, 12,
I've seen
or-
that too.
or 96. Aubrey is always has her eyes open. She's always looking out for other kids.
Thank you.
Always. And Ava is the sweetest. She's the fun one. She's like rallying all of us, getting everybody to play and making sure kids are minding their P's and Q's and Cooper's not throwing the ball too hard. Ava's fun. Ava's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I love her.
On my mission, I remember walking across like these fields, and there would be little encampments. I kind of have to walk past them to get where we're going, and they were gypsy encampments, right? So that's where they're living. And they invite us over. They had some soup they were working on. I offered some soup one day, and she pulled a ladle out and it was full of chicken feet. I'm like,
Are you serious?
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
that was the meat or
That
the
was the
broth.
broth, right? Yeah.
Right, they were, I think called Packers.
PTSD.
Maybe we should all just trade kids. There are definitely moments that I'm like, oh, can I just trade for a minute? And I'll appreciate them. We all go through that.
One of the things, you know, in this mad dash to prepare and be ready for Wendy, and, you know, it was, at the time I felt like it was all about knowledge. I'm gaining knowledge. I'm figuring this out, right? What am I going to be able to teach them, content-wise, when we get there? And somewhere along the way, I realized it was more than that. It was really about what kind of person am I becoming to be ready then? What am I doing today to be ready to mentor them when the time came. And so that's a sort of another question here to think about. What are you currently doing today that your child's future might someday need from you?
I think it goes back to what Kara said earlier with relationships. Because if you ever feel like you're going to be in a position that they would trust you to mentor them or that they would want to follow you, they'll first have to know how much you love them and that you're their person. You're safe enough that they would trust mentoring from you. And so I think in all of our great big goals and our ambitions and this mad dash, if we miss the relationship with them and strengthening that, then will we even be in a place that they would want to receive it from us at the end of it?
Not that that is harder to achieve. Every kid is different and they need a different parent and a different relationship type and different love language, you know?
Mhm.
So it's tricky.
It'll all just be the same.
One thing that I felt long ago really interested in doing for our family, well, because I grew up in a family that was really isolated for lots of reasons. And like, I only remember my parents having friends over one time, a husband and wife, and he was an employee of my dad's. And that's the only time I ever remember guests coming over. And when we went with friends, we always went to other people's houses. Never brought friends to our own. And I really didn't want to have a family like that. Like, I wanted to build a community for our kids. And I wanted that community to be families because I feel like families are so central and so important. And so more often than not, when we do social things that I have anything to do with, I invite whole families. Like, and we do things, our whole family with their whole family. I mean, obviously the kids hang out with just their friends sometimes, and we hang out with just friends sometimes or whatever. But I really try to, and have them come over to our house and build a community that they can be friends with and know how to be with little kids and with older people and with all different ages and like build a family community of people that care about each other and that know who each other are. And that's had a really big impact on me, and I think our kids too. We don't always do a great job of it, but we try, you know.
For us, it's very similar. We wanted them to be put in situations where they weren't just learning how to communicate with their own age peers, right? We wanted them to know how to talk with an adult, how to talk with a young child, and have that full broad spectrum of capability, right? And I remember a couple of times my daughter would bring a boy home that she really liked, you know. And it was interesting to see him trying to interact with me, because she'd come up after and say, what do you think, Dad? What do you think, Dad? Well, why wouldn't he look me in the eyes? When he talked, he was always looking somewhere else. It was like, what is he trying to hide? I don't know. Right? So it's just interesting to see the contrast with, you know, boys that she would bring home. What I kind of envisioned that anyway. Maybe it was just because he was never going to be good enough, whoever it was, right? The other element to this family culture was the sense of stewardship. And that's what mission is, it's a stewardship. And as our oldest daughter got to that age where I was supposed to be ready to mentor her, I wasn't feeling ready. And we kind of looked around to see what opportunities we could give her and couldn't really find anything. So we decided to create a school to hopefully give that opportunity to her and hire a mentor, hire someone that could do that job for me. it never really felt comfortable to be the administrator in that school. I always felt like there's something here, but you're not doing it. What is it you're supposed to do? And I tried a couple times to kind of get in the classroom a little bit, but it just wasn't, the timing wasn't right. And she got through that school and graduated from Ascend. Our second daughter enrolled, and she was here for about a year, maybe two, I can't remember, might have been 2 years, but she just realized that this wasn't the right place for her. So talking about, you know, children being non-identical, she actually said, it's not the right place for me, I need to find something else. And so she researched different schools. She found a charter school that talked about, you know, scholars and studying the classics and having discussions and really getting serious about an education. She thought, that's the place I need to be. So she enrolled. It was clear up in North Ogden, a crazy place to try to get to from Kaysville. And after about not quite a semester, she said, this isn't either. They talk about that, but it's really shallow. I'm not getting what I want. I want something deep. I want something meaningful. I want something that feels like I'm making a difference. Here it's still just assignments. And when we have a class discussion, everyone only gets 1 minute and everyone has to take a turn. It just feels too mechanical. So she sat down on her own and she just mapped out what would be her ideal education. And she thought about mentors she'd had previously. So she should think about, well, literature and classics, it would be this mentor. History, it would be this mentor. Different areas of adults that she'd known. And she said, that's what I want. I just want to work with them and have that be my education. So she set up an appointment with the principal of that school, went and had a meeting with her and said, can I just do this instead? And surprisingly, the principal said, yeah, that sounds great. One condition, every Friday come check in with me. I want to make sure I'm on task. So in that, a little over half a semester, she got almost a year and a half done of her credits to be able to graduate a year early. And she could work so that she could go to the university that she really wanted to go to. So that was her journey, completely different. And then Brad is our boy. Nothing like the girls at all. Like when he was young, you put a book in front of him, and it was not a good combination. Because he's much more interested in being outside, playing ball, running, jumping, doing something else. So for him, being more active, we found a school that was project-based and something that he could build things with his hand, which was right for him. And when he felt it was time, he said, okay, I'm ready for Ascend. And then that's when I finally got the opportunity to be the mentor that I was preparing for. I sort of missed my girls, but I got Brad. So, my motivation for being here was primarily to be the mentor that I couldn't be as a father, but I could be as a teacher in school. And I think what that taught me was that stewardship often reveals what theory cannot. So I had this idea in my mind, theoretically, what it meant to be a mentor. And as I sort of was more patient with it and the right opportunity finally came, then I realized that's where I'm supposed to be. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. All right, last element then. Family legacy. What persists after I'm gone? When I'm not in the picture, what's going to stay? What is going to be part of who they are? And so my oldest daughter that's married, she recently came, they both came to visit, and they came up to me and said, hey, Dad, we've been thinking about this, and we want to start learning some more, reading some more. Do you have any ideas for books? We go in your library and pick out a few books to take with us. And so we went in and they picked some books. He had a pile and she had a pile. And I remember watching them walk out to their car with these piles of books and thinking, maybe the culture's gonna stick. And maybe this love of learning and this, you're never fully cooked, right? You're always going to be learning and becoming. Maybe all those years of work and hope and prayers, it was actually right. We developed that culture, and the legacy was continuing with her. And I think with Sarah, my second daughter, the fact that she owned her own education and totally outside the box thinking, right? Imagine someone going to the principal and saying, I don't want to be in your school, it's not good enough for me. Can I do this instead? And talking her way into that, right? So that's another element where I kind of saw this idea of ownership and stewardship. And if it's going to be, it's sort of up to me to really make the education. That's a lesson that I hope my kids will learn, that they're responsible for their own education. We're here to help, but it's up to them to really do the learning that needs to be required, right? I love that the family mission culture means every child is going to be different, because every child has a different mission. And the education, whatever that educational culture is, needs to be flexible enough to help them get what they need individually. And not like a conveyor belt that they hop on and just kind of go through the same process. Rinse, wash, repeat, right?
Can I ask a question?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does expectation fit into this model? Because as you were explaining your upbringing, and you were comparing with a mission to, what did you say? You said mission versus something.
I said career, but
Career,
it's
and in
not-
my house it was like expectation. Like I did it because I'm the oldest, that's what I was expected to do.
Yeah.
But to some degree, there has to be a little bit of that. There has to be a little bit of expectation and some accountability. And so where in this awesome model, like, did you feel that fit in? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Because, I don't know, because that's kind of sometimes the hardest part for us is, like, it's actually okay for us to expect some things of them, outside of even learning, but is it also a balance?
Tell me what you mean by expectation.
For myself or for my kids?
Just the way you're using that word, what does that mean for you? What does that look like?
Expectation.
However you were
Oh,
using. You're asking about how
Your parents.
that fits in, so what does that mean for you?
You felt like there was an expectation in your home. What were those expectations?
Well, they're all kind of just culture-based, they're not really, the expectation was that I get good grades, I go to school, I get good grades, I go to church, I help take care of my siblings.
Traditional school.
Yeah, I don't make mistakes. I was never like told I have a mission. I remember when I got my patriarchal blessing feeling like, heck yes, like I am actually here I can make my own choices a little bit. And that's to no one's demise. I love my parents so much, like we were all just raised so differently. So expectation with regard to my kids, I want to hold an expectation for them educationally that I have no ground to stand on really, because I was educated very differently. So I'm holding them to a different expectation, and in my mind, much higher. But I'm just trying to figure out how to do that, I guess. So expectation to me means helping them achieve their goals and their mission. And maybe taking the phrasing out, maybe not using that word. Expectation.
in trouble with this question, so tell me if it's not appropriate, but what do you feel like your mission is?
My vision? My personal mission?
Yeah.
I know,
Do you-
I
do
know,
you-
I know.
You're already doing it, honey. You are literally in it.
Well, do you feel like that's secondary to your kid's mission?
Yes.
That the window for you is closed?
How old I am. No, I don't feel that it's closed, I just want my
If we're not
focus.
dead yet, there's still time.
No, I don't feel that it's closed, I just feel like the timing is wrong.
The timing is for us to focus on your kids.
On
for
the
our
mission
kids'
right
mission,
now
I
is
feel
the
like it's-
kids.
Yeah.
The timing is never wrong.
Is it exclusive or?
No, but I feel
But
like
there's a
we
but.
often treat it that way.
Yeah,
And it's, yeah.
so Terry, you're shaking your head.
I feel fully cooked. That's the problem, I had to find the word.
The Google.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tara?
I had an experience in the car a couple months ago, like in January. Because I guess, I also was a novice, also had expectations, whatever. But I felt like for so long I have been trying to focus, trying to focus so intensely on Sam that I really started to pray during the Christmas break and everything, that I just was like, I want something more because I don't feel like I got what I wanted. I haven't got it yet. And I feel like I'm here for more. And I want what he's getting. And I was driving in the car and I just felt like Heavenly Father just said, Tara, you still have time. And to be honest, the thought that came to my mind was that you mentioned, it's exactly what you had already said earlier tonight, was that it was at the point that you're like, I need to be ahead of my kids, that you started to do the very same thing. And I'm like, that's what I want. And I felt like Heavenly Father just said, has all been a part of it, but it's okay that you also get to be a part of this. And it's okay for you to take time to focus on what it is that, of course your mission is Sam. Of course that's what it is. But your mission is also you. And it's okay for you to take time to do that.
So I want to change one word in what you just said. So, of course your mission is Sam. What word did you say? Remember? You
No.
said, but. And,
Yes.
right?
Fair. Yes. Yes.
So my journey, I realized I was deceived because I didn't think I was ready for my daughters. But I was mentoring them along the way.
And
And can I just say,
Yeah.
with that I have realized along the way, maybe I can't say that, but Heavenly Father has had it be intentional the entire time. And we can always learn from, I'm not gonna be able to say it, but, and stay composed, but the fact of the matter is that yes, it is the and, I am a mom, and that is crucial, and it's important, and it's exactly why I'm here. And we need to remember that motherhood is that way, and fatherhood is that way. But it is hand in hand with the Creator. And I'm not gonna be able to say anymore, so anyway.
I embrace expectation. But it's what the expectation is, right? So my expectation was, I'm not gonna ask you to do something I'm not going to do. Right, so part of something really that's important to me in my picture of a blessing is to live as you teach and teach as you live. That's the phrase. And it's not just about what you say, but it's about what you're doing and becoming. Right? So my expectation was, Dad's sacrificing get a great education. And I think it's important for you to sacrifice to get a great education, because I'm doing it, not just telling you. It was hard, take a day off from work where I could be making more money for our family, but I was taking a day off to go to class. Or I was staying up later, an hour or two later at night to try to get some more reading. I was getting up a little bit early during the day. That was a sacrifice that they were watching me make, and I was setting that expectation that this is what we do in our family. We sacrifice for things that are important. And it's not just about performing, it's about becoming. And so I think that's was our form of expectation, that if you get an education or not, it's not my fault as a parent. I'm showing you how to do it, and now it's your choice, and it will be to your benefit or your detriment if you don't take advantage of the opportunities that are. That was an expectation that you're going to own your education, and we'll support you and encourage you and do everything we can, but ultimately the choice has to be yours, and I hope you make the right choice. That was a pretty strong expectation. And I think opportunities that they were signing up for, it was kind of like a contract. Like, if you sign up for this play, you're expected to go to all of that commitment. You'll fulfill all that commitment. Go to all, memorize your part when it needs to be memorized, perform when you need to perform, go through whatever that takes, you're fully committed. So that was the expectation. If you're signing up for it, then let's do it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
This is full of expectations, but I wanted to make sure it was honoring the stewardship. As they grew and were able to carry on more responsibility in their stewardship, I tried to give that to them and trust them with it. And I think that's really important even as a teacher, right? I give assignments, and I expect them to do the assignments, right? But I also don't just say, trust me, just do it. I try to tell them why I chose this book. Why do I think this book is important for them right now? I spend some time to try to sell them on why they should be doing this, right? And once they agree and get buy-in, then I can hold them accountable to the commitment that they made with me. Right? So that's a form of expectation. I think sometimes we can get so caught up in our children's progress that we forget that we're part of that equation too. And we have a life mission just like they do. And a big part of our life mission is raising them, helping them become. But just like a career is part of our mission, a family is part of our mission. And there are elements that we were sent to do that are in addition to raising children, raising a family. And trying to figure out what that means is our own path, right? So I really do believe that I'm not dead yet. That means I still got work to do. So it could be picking up a book, it could be having them see me sit down with a book, or leave my book open and let them see the notes I'm taking, the margins, and modeling as much as I can of the culture that I believe our family should be from. So, okay. So I think that's kind of where I wanted to go, is to just have you think about that and plant that seed. What are you here for in addition to raising your kids? What's part of why you were sent here? My mentor taught me that there's sort of two trees that we're planting and building. One is family and the other is something else. What is that something else in addition to the family? And it's not about one or the other. If I do one, it's gonna sacrifice the other one. It's both. Another phrase that I use is the tyranny of the or, where we feel like I have a choice, either this or this, and sometimes it's a false choice. Oftentimes it's a false choice. So how do I embrace the and? Get both. So, what is the culture that you're hoping is developing in your families, in your home? Is it a family mission culture? What does that look like for you? Because it's different for my family than it is for yours. That's the beauty of what a family mission culture looks like. And how much are you modeling that so that they're not just hearing, but they're also seeing and watching and following? It really is just the quiet steps that you're doing that's building that culture.
And if you wanna find out kind of where it's at, like take a little temperature for like Mother's Day, they sell at Amazon this little book about mom. And they have like 40, 50 random questions about mom and, all about her. And when my kids filled it out, I had no idea that they were paying attention to certain things that I thought they for sure didn't even know that was even a thing. And I was just like, oh, okay. So it was endearing and funny, but at the same time, there was a level of depth that I just thought, okay, we're gonna keep that going for sure, So I think that would be a fun thing, You can read when you're sad, or when they talk back.
When you're frustrated. I'm curious, what messages have come to you tonight? Why did you need to be here tonight? What did you hear that you feel like, if it's not too personal to share, what did you hear that you feel like was worth coming tonight?
It's almost like receiving permission to own your own education and to put the time and the energy and your heart and soul into it. Like permission. That not only is it a good use of your time, but it's one of the most effective ways to show them is for them to see you do it yourself. As opposed to that other mentality that many moms have, that we think we're just putting everything we have into them, right? Like we're sacrificing everything for them at the expense of our own education, because who has time for that? It's all about them. But that's a permission to shift that thinking and say, this is actually one of the most powerful ways to inspire them to do that, is to show them. I threw my pen just for effect. It was cool.
No, I noticed that.
It was good, right?
I noticed that.
I just wanted to make sure you guys were really hanging on every word.
I never thought of my life mission outside of raise these kids, make them better than what you are. Like that's my life mission, right? And I honestly, like that's how I felt. Like I haven't thought of life beyond the kids until the last few years, as Cooper's now 13, and it's like, we got like 4 years, 5 years, right? And then it's gone. What is my life mission? So, ride bikes, I don't know, like, I gotta figure it out. I'm gonna do whatever Brian does, and just obviously. That's okay.
We all have things that are happening suddenly that we have to respond to.
But I gotta figure it out, so it's great, the classes are always, I don't look at life with this twist very often. I feel like when I come here, I get that twist that I'm looking for that helps perspective, me look at my own life in a different way, so that's what I got.
It's kind of an interesting ride, because I've been going through old journals, and I just went through, a couple of journals that are pre-marriage, pre-kids, a lot of stuff. And I didn't marry till I was 28, so I had lots of years of being, single. And so, but just in thinking about, like, there's a theme in, you know, a lot of that loneliness, you know, there were lots of times of loneliness. And now looking at my life and just how full and how lonely it is. Like sometimes, you know, where you just want that little bit of quiet time and stuff and alone time. But it's kind of an interesting journey, so now to think about, well, what's gonna happen when, you know, the kids are gone, and then it's, I mean, like, of course, there's different stages and different paths at all the time, but it's kind of, it's just a fun ride. It's like, this is a fun ride, and right now I'm in the middle of this kid adventure, and, you know, it'll be really fun, you know, when they're moving on a little bit, and at the point that you're talking about, where they're just moving on, and then it'll be interesting to see what comes next.
See, for my husband, he's more of the opinion of like, oh my gosh, I've got 1 year left with Aubrey, what am I gonna do? You know, like, he's agonizing over it, and so he's like
Enjoy it.
taking every chance.
Don't stress over it,
and-
enjoy it.
I know, and I'm just like, are you kidding? It's gonna be so fun. Like, is she gonna marry it? And I just wanna play with the grandkids. Like, this is going to be fun. And I'm just like looking at it so positively. I'm just like, why are you in such a despair mode? Like, it's good. We're still friends. Like, you know, get excited for the next thing. And for me tonight, it was more like the word was reassurance. That when I chose a few years ago to, you know, start living my mission, and my life prior to that was preparing me to take charge. You know, that maybe 2-3 years ago I let go of that guilt because I wasn't trying to replace it with my kids or how I was going raising them, but I joined them in living our missions together and watching each other and encouraging each other when things get hard, and maybe there's a little, you know, dip for me and my kids are like, oh no, you're not giving up, come on. Get up, like, you can do this, no. And they just like, you know, coach me through, and it's like, okay, you know. But then we just kind of started doing that with each other, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm a better person, and I'm a better mother. Once I chose to, you know, live out my mission and how that looks in my day-to-day, I don't ever want to put a first or a second, but I believe that there's a stuff that President Bednar said, you know, there's a lot of different sticks and a lot of different places that you just want to keep on twisting, you know, you never want them to fall. There's the family and the work and the church and the fun and all the things. And so figure it out, when the one is starting to like spin slowly, then give it time and start spinning it again, so it keeps going and so on. And so I don't know that I'm ever hitting it all the way right, but I'm trying, and I'm making sure that my family and motherhood place don't go slow. I don't know. Yeah. So that really helped me like feel like it's okay to not have it all figured out all the time. It's just like the grace you give yourself is like, you're freaking it out. This is part of the stretching. It's okay. This is good. So
I like that.
James, I was kind of thinking along the lines of permission. It also gives permission to be intentional, and to kind of peel back layers, because sometimes it can all feel so overwhelming, but when you have perspective and permission to peel back layers and be intentional with everything you're doing, the other stuff, you know, the less important things fall by the wayside. So I love that perspective tonight, just permission and like-mindedness. Like, isn't it so awesome that you did it by yourself so that we could all do it with you? Thank you so much. But truly, like, so that we can have family cultures and be surrounded by like-mindedness, and we're all being intentional for the same purpose of helping our kids discover and execute their missions, and helping ourselves do the same. Because now Tara and I, because we're birthday buddies and name buddies, just I'm older, but we have the same birthday and almost the same name. So, but now, you know, we can all be helping each other. It's, I don't know. So that's what I've taken away from the class tonight, is that, oh, we're just never alone. We're never alone in what we're trying to accomplish. I think that's an important hard to really number two.
My experience is there's fewer times I feel more alive than I feel like I'm on mission. There's energy, it's like, I don't need as much sleep. I just feel like I'm more connected with God. I'm more connected with other people. There's just something special about that feeling, waking up in the morning, I got stuff to do, let's go. Right? And I wonder, if we could apply that to our family, how beautiful would the world be if more families were on mission? What is my family mission? What's my part? What are we accomplishing as a family? And let's get after it and get busy. Do what we can do. Just want to leave that with you. Hopefully it's give you some things to think about. You can join me in my pensive life right now. Right?
Thank you.
Thanks for coming tonight.
All right.
No more till fall. Sorry.
How are you?